Ethan Carter always rejected my advances by being busy. So angry that I flung a lingerie photo at him. Now you're free. The next second, he replied back. This is even swamped. Then we had an unexpected night out. I woke up and ran. He laughed in exasperation. What's the matter? You're so busy. You're in such a hurry to leave? I was hugging male escort. Well, swamped. Roses weave romantic dreams. Chase to see roses romantic meaning endless. The romance never stops. Be sure to like, comment, retweet, follow, turn on the little bell. Beautiful drama on Time to Embrace. Ethan Carter. He went to college at the age of 14 and spent 8 years studying for his master's degree. Now a heart surgeon. He's tall and leggy. And he's got a heart-on. That was my first time chasing someone. It was hard to get his contact information. I typed, Dr. Joe. Want to have dinner together? After 10 minutes. He replied. I'm busy today. Sorry. I was in a hurry. I sent him a lingerie photo. This still can't get you? The next second. He replied. Now it's even more swamped. At this point, I didn't know Ethan Carter was actually an asshole. Wolf in sheep's clothing. The next day, I went to the hospital and hung up his number. What's your type? Dr. Chow. Ethan Carter lifted his eyelids and looked at me for a split second. Quiet. I shut my chattering mouth. Again. I didn't hold back. I've been getting headaches lately. Feel it. Ethan Carter doesn't say anything. Leaning back in his chair. His eyes roaming. I knew he read my mind. But this pretender. However. Whispers. Miss Nan. I don't know what you want. The matter had come to a head. I somehow feel like I still have a chance. I deliberately made up a topic to send him a message. Dr. Joe. A man asked me to go to Egypt tour with a group. Can I go? He was probably busy. And only got back to me at night. Is this tour a package deal? Is that the point? The guy is a local. He's very sweet. He'll take care of my safety. Ethan Carter says. Take a dip in the Nile? He's asking questions. He's talking about things. I'm so pissed off at him. I want to call an ambulance. And I'm afraid it's him in the white coat in the ambulance. It's said that you can tell how much a girl loves her by her boyfriend. You can tell how much she loves you in some way. I still didn't give up easily. Until I heard the nurses chatting at the hospital. The girl who's been coming to Dr. Chow a lot lately. Dr. Chow obviously doesn't like her. And she's still shamelessly coming over. Yes. The cupcakes she gave to Dr. Joe were thrown into the trash. I don't know what she thinks. It's a shame. I made homemade desserts with my own hands. If you don't like them, you don't have to throw them in the garbage. I was a little sad. I wanted to leave. Just as I turned around, I saw Ethan Carter coming out of his office. I was like a proud ostrich. Majestically. I passed by him. Didn't even look at him. Of course I did. Out of the corner of my eye, I felt Ethan Carter stop in his tracks. I thought he was going to stop me. Subconsciously turned around. Saw him talking to another white coat. Probably sensed the line of sight and looked this way. I was caught peeking. I rolled my eyes at him again in a hurry. Later that night, the phone lights up. A message from Ethan Carter. It was back from me asking him at noon if he was free next week. He said, going to a networking meeting in Geneva next week. I scanned it and turned off my phone. From now on, I'm going to go winks on all the dudes. I never looked for him again. That day. I don't know which project was the client. It turned out to be a mutual friend of Ethan Carter and me. He sent a friend circle. In the photo, Ethan Carter wasn't looking at the camera. And the girl beside him was smiling brightly. That's what he said about going to Geneva for a meeting. Plus the last homemade desserts incident. My resentment has been building up for a long time. Directly dialed the phone over. After waiting for a while, the other end finally picked up. He got right to the point. Do you know what time it is? I know. It's 3 in the morning in the UK. Are you disturbing Dr. Joe? I was wrong about you. You're a liar. What do you mean? I snorted coldly. Sorry Dr. Joe. I'm a bit slow. If you don't like me, please tell me word for word instead of throwing my handmade cupcakes into the trash. I have dignity too. By the way, did you have a good time on your date at Geneva? Dating? Ethan Carter laughed at that and stopped pretending. Emma Quinn. Did you go to the neurology department a while back? You should go to the psych ward and see what's going on in your head. Yeah. I put my job on hold to travel thousands of kilometers to find a woman. And then take your call at 3 o'clock at night. Do you think I'm idle? So fierce. I realized I couldn't argue with him. You're the one who's sick in the head. I suggest you pay me for my cupcakes. Ethan Carter wouldn't let me go. His smile was light. No. Cupcakes are bitter and hard. I don't know if you really like me or you're here to get back at me. You come to me every day. And then you roll your eyes at me. Why? You're playing with me. I'm sorry. I can't be your dog in this life. I was mad. My eyes were a little hot. I also realized that he didn't mean that to me. Ethan Carter. There's no way in hell I'll ever like you again in my life. I said and hung up the phone. The phone was on. The mutual friend posted another friend circle. This time it was a selfie. The accompanying text read, if I become bent one day, I must benefit all my good brothers. Turns out it was him in the group photo just now with a wig drag persona. Misunderstanding? That's all. That night, I lost sleep. I was also completely out of love. A few days later at my friend's birthday party, I had a few more drinks. Played the game Lost. Punishment with the opposite sex around drink wedding toast ritual. And after, the bottle of wine turns to me once again. I pick Dare again. My friend asked me to confess to the first person on the list. I forgot to untop it. First on the list is Ethan Carter. There's a cacophony of voices. I close my eyes. I sent him a message. What's up? This time he's quicker to reply. What's up? Are you busy today? I'm off. Are you busy? I'm not busy. What's up? Did you have fun at the wedding toast ritual? What's the matter? My heart trembled. How did he know? Subconsciously. I looked around the booths. No sign of Ethan Carter. A few of my friends in front of me are still waiting straight for me to send a message. I didn't have time to think about anything else and typed silently. There's something I want to tell you. Don't tell me. I like you. He returned TD. Suddenly, I felt very sad. The next second, directly pull Ethan Carter black. Later I realized how Ethan Carter saw me drinking wedding toast ritual. It turns out that this bar is owned by our mutual friend. This guy was taking a video of me for a friend's circle. Good thing the phone is quiet now. No more interruptions from me. Ethan Carter is probably clean too. I thought we would never see each other again. Then, out of the blue, the company wanted to make a documentary about doctors and patients. The location is the hospital where Ethan Carter works. Work was on the line. I butt heads with him in the spirit of business for the session. Occasional eye contact. I panicked and ducked. Someone behind me, I don't know who, pushed me. I fell into his arms with inertia. In that instant, I could almost feel his breath. Ethan Carter's eyes were downcast. His tone frank and teasing. Changing tricks? He clearly saw that I was being careless. And he was deliberately teasing me. I jerked back a big step and gritted my teeth. Then why didn't you dodge? Is it hard to believe that Dr. Joe intentionally tried to hug me? Ethan Carter didn't say anything. As if asking, are you dreaming? His voice pauses for a few seconds. The line of sight falls slowly on my face. Still angry? Referring to the incident a while back when he rejected my confession. I grunt. Yes. Very angry. Ethan Carter laughed at that. What's there to be angry about? I thought you didn't like me anymore. I was about to say something. Ethan Carter lazily continued. The game of picking a confession. Is that what you kids do? I knew he knew all about it. These days, I jumped up and down in front of him like a clown. And he was just as oblivious to it as he was to a child's game. But I'm the kind of person who will fight for what I don't have. And scratch you to death when I do. So I hardened my head. Don't worry. This time it's totally for work. I didn't mean to come to you. I still want to say something. The director happened to pass by and saw us standing opposite each other. Do you know Dr. Joe? I immediately said. No. The director probably heard my emotions and subconsciously looked at Ethan Carter. Ethan Carter leaned against the doorframe and tugged his lips at his words. If she says she doesn't know, she doesn't know. The day's work is over. There's a potluck in the evening. Someone comes over to strike up a conversation. I'm Zane Young. May I ask your name? He's from the hospital. He's quite old-fashioned. As we chatted, Zane Young suddenly looked at me. Zane Young suddenly looked at me and raised his eyebrows and licked his back teeth. I was sitting on pins and needles. Behind me, the door of the box opened and closed. Ethan Carter has been called in on short notice and is just now arriving. After a few pleasantries, he sits down in the empty seat on the other side of me. His eyes casually glanced at Zane Young beside me. Hide and floss if you're stuffing your teeth. This man's mouth was pretty much spot on. Zane Young was embarrassed and finally ate properly. In the middle of the meal, my phone rang. It was my best friend. I went out and answered it in a deserted booth across the street. I spoke into the phone and told her what had happened to me all day. And then I added, Ethan Carter is just a grumpy, chasing asshole, waiting to hang up. And after. I can't believe that's what I am in MS. Nan's mind. I turn around in shock. Ethan Carter is leaning against the doorframe, looking at me imploringly. Voice cool. I got weak and hurriedly changed the topic. I just thanked Dr. Joe for helping me out. How is that Zane Young person? Ethan Carter frowns. What? I was glad that he was distracted by me, deliberately continuing to talk nonsense. It's just that he looks gangly and old-fashioned. Do you know what that's like? Ethan Carter laughed. I'm sorry. I don't know what a retro bad boy feels like. How could he say something so toxic and bitchy with that good-looking face? I bit my lip, resisting the urge to punch him. Going to eat, I said and tried to run away. Ethan Carter, however, won't let me go. The door was slammed shut. My wrists were held. I was blocked against the wall by him. He leans over and smiles softly. Don't. I have time now. Why don't we explore exploring size? The distance is close. 4 eyes facing each other. I'm a little overwhelmed. No. It's too much of a waste of Dr. Chow's time. Ethan Carter was all compassionate. It's okay. Hippocratic oath. I knew I was being unreasonable. I said seriously. To express my apology. I'll treat you to dinner this weekend. Sorry. I'm busy. I guessed he would refuse and sighed in relief. It's okay. Anyway. Traffic is jammed on weekends. Don't tire out Dr. Joe. Ethan Carter was silent for a split second and his smile deepened. It's kinda sweet. It's okay for you to pick me up. Saturday night at 7. Wait for me in front of the hospital. The asshole. Saturday came quickly. Finally. After much coaxing, Ethan Carter came to pick me up. You're late. I looked at the time and went downstairs 5 minutes late. I haven't been feeling well lately. Forgive me. Ethan Carter. Perhaps out of professional habit. Where's the discomfort? I pointed to my stomach. It's uncomfortable. Listen for your baby's heartbeat. Ethan Carter froze for a moment. It's windy. Stand over here. I didn't understand. What's wrong? I'm afraid I'll freeze. My baby. I stopped joking. I ignored him the rest of the way. In the restaurant. Just finished ordering. Dr. Chow. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here. The one who spoke was the hospital nurse. Then the little girl's eyes gossiped at me. This is. I caught a chance to get back at him. He's chasing me and had to ask me out for dinner. The dog man's taking his time to explain himself. I just didn't get the words I wanted. Ethan Carter leaned back in his chair as if he was in a good mood. Pregnancy cravings. I swear I'll never make another joke in my life. After the people leave. He asked. Enough acting? I gasped. You're sick in the head. Ethan Carter didn't say anything else. His cuffs were half raised. His black wristwatch on his thin wrist. Slowly. He pours me a glass of lukewarm water before he says, healers don't heal themselves. I took a deep breath and suddenly felt like just being friends. It's also quite good. I withdrew my gaze. Dr. Joe. Have you ever had a girlfriend? Ethan Carter was honest. No. I knew it. That's right. No woman would be able to stand you if you're as mean and cold as you are. And you have a bad mouth and a bad brain. Let's see. The last time a woman sent a black. Shut up. Asshole. I blushed. That's my habit. I send it to anyone I talk to. Ethan Carter gave a beat and snorted. Now. Who's the asshole? Inexplicably pissed off as if. I shrugged. Seriously. Dr. Chow. If you want to get off the hook, I suggest you get a lip piercing. Ethan Carter has little appetite and hands me a Kleenex to wipe my mouth. What does that mean? Lip piercing up and down. The restaurant was empty and the meal was winding down. Ethan Carter just looked at me. Probably genuinely amused. Half a dozen times. Talking to someone. I turned off my phone screen. Got up and grabbed my bag. And blurted out. Retro bad boy. I've been with him for a long time. And I've become just as bad as he is. I changed my tone. It's Zane Young. I don't know how he got my contact info. I'd scared. Don't really want to talk to him. Ethan Carter averted his eyes. Really? I see you're having a good time talking. I wanted to say something and suddenly curved my lip to look at him. You're not jealous. Are you? Standing opposite each other. He was a head taller than me. Those deep black eyes fall back onto my face as if they could seduce. He said. Do you think it's possible? Then if Dr. Chow gets jealous in the future, be sure to tell me. Why? I raised my eyes and stood on my tiptoes. I saw the knot in his throat sink for a moment. I went to his ear. Playing with the flavor. That way? I'll die. Later that day. I stopped by the checkout line on my way to the bathroom and realized Ethan Carter had already paid. That's when I ran into a mutual friend of ours. His name is Felix Lin. He's a big client. With his repeated politeness, I was very delicate and worldly to help him settle the bill. Seeing the girl leave, Felix Lin looked at the person next to him. It's not easy for Dr. Joe to have dinner alone with a woman. You like her? Ethan Carter looked like he heard a joke. If I like her, I'll eat the table. Felix Lin nodded repeatedly. But what a greedy little glutton. I didn't hear what they were talking about. I just saw that Ethan Carter didn't look too good. I didn't take it to heart. Now that I'm 25, I have no intention of not getting married or having children. I wouldn't turn down an introduction even if it meant falling for Ethan Carter. The guy who best fit my criteria. One of the boys. Who'd been chatting quite a bit lately. Suddenly the phone lit up. Ethan Carter sent me a transfer. Inexplicably. I silently accepted it and typed a question mark to him. His chat box bounced back and forth between being typed and notes. Finally, he asked, "Shed let me out?" I then remembered that I had blackmailed him. It was only for work. And I was afraid I'd have to find him for something in the future. So I released him from the blacklist again yesterday. Men know men best. So I sent him a picture of the blind date guy. He returned a question mark. What do you think of this man? Quite handsome. Right. After 10 seconds. He said. Ghost hit the picture. Which is not. I sent him another selfie. He asked me to meet him for dinner. Is this one okay? It looks a bit like lawn. Appendicitis. What about this one? It's very atmospheric. Evil sneak. I regret asking him. Nothing good comes out of this man's mouth. A few days later. I was eating. The blind date guy asked me what I was eating. I took a picture and sent it to him. He replied. Really rich. I can't even afford to eat. Sure enough. It was a split second on the top and a split second on the bottom. Another message popped up on my phone. It was Ethan Carter. This man is truly Hippocratic oath. To facilitate my work. He sent me a medical-related document that I need for editing. Thank you. I'll go back and read it later. He asked. Where are you? I'm having dinner. No more messages from my cell phone. Half an hour later. He sent a transfer. He said. Eat something nice. MS. Nan. I didn't read his words for a moment. Besides, I don't feel sorry for men. And shamelessly accepted the transfer and asked if he had any more. The next second. He sent another transfer. I've finally found something good about Ethan Carter. 2 virtues that men can't even pretend to have: handsome and generous. At this point, I looked at the chat box and laughed my little girl's ass off. Almost died. Indeed. That night I worked overtime at the company. Took a scolding from the leader. And then sent to the emergency room with a fever. My throat was dry and sore and my mind was foggy. I dreamed about the first time I met Ethan Carter. It was the anniversary of the University of Medicine and Science. He was giving a speech as an honors graduate. Afterward, there was a free question period. The microphone was somehow handed to me. I was a writer-director intern at the time and asked a random question. He stood up and patiently answered my question. I held my cheek and asked. I don't understand. Does Dr. Joe have a girlfriend? There was a chorus of laughter. I was embarrassed in hindsight. In the next second, my eyes snapped open. Inside the hospital room. It's quiet. Awake. With a sideways glance. Ethan Carter was sitting next to me. What are you doing here? Ethan Carter glanced at the clock. Just in time for the shift not to get busy. Feeling better. I had a good night's sleep and my body was much more relaxed. Much better. I said with a smile. Ethan Carter looked into my eyes and suddenly asked. What's wrong with you? My thoughts went down for a second. Like I'd found a trash can. I vented what my leader had scolded me for. As it were. He said that the clicks of the column that I have been responsible for a long time are not working. And the things that I shoot are too boring. So I asked him how to shoot it. And he told me to change the plot to CEO romance falling in love with menopause me. And bullying sugar mama falling in love with performance issues me. And then people will watch it. But that column is a social documentary style. Even if there was a script, it was written on a factual basis. In fact, I also know that the environment is such that being direct and perverted enough is the bargaining chip for earning money. But the more I think about it, the angrier I get. This old fart is out of his mind. And you're laughing. Ethan Carter did as he was told. And his laughter was curtailed. I thought he was going to give me a hard time. He said. I thought of a story I read once. What story? His voice was low. And it reached my ears, causing me to freeze for a moment. He said the story was about the sensible god of the sun and the indulgent god of wine. Existing in the same world. Opposing each other. In fact, no one is wrong. Just the positive and negative sides of the coin of human nature. I nodded. Hesitantly. You mean for me to get drunk? Ethan Carter is out of temper. Emma Quinn. Are you short on registration fees for brain surgery? I can't get any ivory out of a dog's mouth. The nurse comes in to change the four. One of the nurses who taunted me in the hallway last time. I realized that Ethan Carter's story was about sticking to what you love and having peace of mind. So I forgave him. Too. And didn't get into a verbal fight with him. Deliberately tugging on his sleeve. I said. Dr. Joe. I suddenly feel so bad. Ethan Carter was probably really fooled by me. Instinctively. He raised his hand and supported my forehead. My fingers were warm. And my heart beat lightly and imperceptibly shook for a moment. Where? Exactly. Do you have a headache? He was half bent over. And I saw his collarbone. The knot of his throat. And the smooth line of his jaw. Gentle as hell. For some reason. My tonally filled brain. This time lucidly. Guesses if he's this gentle in bed. 2. I shake my head and blurt out. Tummy. Ethan Carter stalls in his movements, finally realizing what's going on and glancing at my belly. The baby kicked you? He did it on purpose. I heard the door to the hospital room slam, and the nurse fell away as if she had heard something big. I calmed my breathing. The next second, the cell phone lit up. The screen was facing up, and it was that blind date I hadn't been talking to much lately. He asked, Sister, what are you doing? A pin drops around me. I meet Ethan Carter's eyes and I blink. My fever's gone down. Right. Can I get out of the hospital? Ethan Carter has little emotion on his face and gets up absently. Well, it's too late. Have your Indian friend and domestic appendicitis pick you up. It's early morning after my 4. Too embarrassed to call my coworkers to pick me up. In the end, it was Dr. Chow. Who was so mean? Who just happened to be off duty to take me back. I was thankful, but I didn't forget to pat him on the back. I know Dr. Chow was afraid that my cold would get worse, so he gave me a ride. You're really an attentive little Capricorn traits. And Ethan Carter looked like he had been sulking the whole way. Before I got out of the car, I thanked him again. Take care on the road. Thank you so much. Ethan Carter lowered the window and suddenly called out to me. Emma Quinn. What's wrong? The moon stars are low. The streetlight illuminates the side of his face and God's favoritism. He said, So, you owe me a meal. I rested at home for 2 days because I had a cold. When I went to the hospital again, it was obvious that a few staff members were looking at me with some gossip in their eyes. I don't need to guess who told me. I bumped into Ethan Carter in the hallway, who had just finished checking in. And I asked, Aren't you going to explain? Explain what? Our relationship. Ethan Carter, not sure if he heard me or not, said, Give me your hand. I reached out subconsciously. Ethan Carter knows Chinese medicine, and his fingers are always warm. His fingers are always warm. They press lightly on my pulse. The bones are long, white and red. No one stops in the hallway. Good recovery. I look away unnaturally. It's not a good idea for a man and a woman to have sex. So you'll have to be more careful next time. Ethan Carter nods. Well, you let go first. At this moment, my hand is holding his. I was weak and shook it off. Suddenly there is some awkwardness. It's quiet for a moment. Ethan Carter asked, Are you free tonight? My ears burned and I became even more embarrassed. I was about to say something when I remembered what I said last time about owing him a meal. Got it. Mr. Chow. And then, my shoulder was tapped from behind by a friend, probably calling me to lunch. Eyes lit up at the sight of Ethan Carter. Hello Dr. Chow. I don't know whose cell phone rings. I clicked on it. It was my blind date again. I clicked reject in annoyance. The talking continues around me. I've been single for a long time. Dr. Joe. Do you have any friends that would be convenient to introduce? I rejected the call once again. Glanced at Ethan Carter and muttered. What good is a doctor when he's so busy? You don't get it. Right? There are a lot of benefits to having a doctor's boyfriend. Dr. Joe. Tell me. Ethan Carter was in no hurry to speak. His eyes crossed my face. And in a half-whisper, he said in a faint voice, Well, it's true that he's busy. So he can give you time to find another one. No. Who was he being sarcastic about? I heart to him to scold. To no one's place. My friend gossiped. Dr. Joe is not like you are. I also heard the nurse this morning that you two even have a child. How can that be? I gasped and laughed. If he likes me, I will eat the chair. It was getting late. We had a dinner date. But unfortunately Ethan Carter had a medical emergency. He sent a message from his coworker that I should go home first. I said it was fine. I was probably out of my mind that day. Or maybe I just wanted to rub his car to get home. In no hurry to leave, I sat on a garden bench and turned on my computer to take care of my work. When I raised my eyes again, the sky was completely dark. Ethan Carter hadn't gotten off work yet. I rubbed my whiplash and was just about to get up when a vibration came from my hand. Under the streetlight, Ethan Carter held up his cell phone. Ethan Carter. The hem of my coat swayed slightly in the cold late summer wind. The deep, clear chime of a clock tower in the distance, hidden in the rustle of honking horns. The man's figure paused for a split second and turned slowly. I jogged over to him. Ethan Carter. You're so slow. I've been waiting for you for 3 hours. I've been waiting for you for 3 hours. Who in the world would have a friend as good as me? And it's only fair that you don't treat me to a nice dinner. Right? Ethan Carter dropped his eyes, was silent for a few seconds, and said yes. I'm about to drag him away. So what are we waiting for? But my wrist is taken first. He's tall, leaning down, his chin nudging the nape of my neck with heat. I remembered that this man was always cold and detached. And sometimes he spoke in a way that could make people angry enough. I'd never seen Ethan Carter like this. A different Ethan Carter. I stood still. What's wrong with you? It was a long time before his raspy voice came to me. I can save him. Just one more minute. Just one more minute. He was referring to the 70-year-old grandfather who had been clamoring for discharge from the hospital in the morning. The old man was so stubborn and obstinate that he told the camera to make me look good. Many nurses came to stop him. And finally Ethan Carter came over. And instead of coaxing him like the others, he deliberately said that he was going to do the procedures to be discharged from the hospital. Hearing this, the old man suddenly settled down. Like a child who wants attention. No one expected it. Such a living, breathing man would never see the sun again. Ethan Carter hugged me. He's warm. Feeling his every breath. I didn't say a word. I raised my hand and patted his back slowly. Everyone experiences the death of someone close to them. I remembered the death of my neighbor's grandfather when I was a child, who I didn't know well, and I passed by and saw him lying there. I couldn't eat a bite of food that whole day. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the revulsion of an immature mind. I can't tell. At the moment, I just wondered how many deaths Ethan Carter had experienced. How did he, at one time, slowly come to terms with it? Did he find someone to talk to? Or was he alone and silent, waiting for it to fade away? And then the weeks went by. Apparently Ethan Carter falls into the latter category. I don't know how much time passed. Ethan Carter. If you could travel back in time, where would you want to go? Ethan Carter slowly releases me. He lowers his eyebrows and takes off his jacket and puts it over my shoulders as if he's back to his old self. There's no such technology in the world. I said if I'd like to travel back 3 hours. What? I tilted my head. Tell you what? Do your best. A lot of this isn't your fault. The wind died down. Ethan Carter didn't say anything. The sky was overcast. But he suddenly felt the sky was bright. There was clearly no moon. When he reacted, he realized that the moon was in front of him, not waiting for a response. I don't know what Ethan Carter was thinking. He just kept looking at me. I was getting a little hungry. Let's go. You said you'd buy me a big dinner. You're not going to try to cheat, are you? Ethan Carter finally came back to his senses and whispered. Let's go. Buy another bag. I was in such a hurry to load my computer that I tore the strap on my handbag. I said, I want Chanel. He nodded without hesitation. Okay. I'll buy you a big dinner tonight. No. I'll treat you. No. Dr. Joe. I want to make progress too much. And I also want a Louis Vuitton. I finally had a say in how to get a man to spend $100,000 a day on me. The documentary is still in full swing. The hospital building is still like a city that never sleeps. Life went on. I didn't go to the hospital during that time because I had something on my mind. I spent the morning sitting in front of the computer watching the documentary being edited. One of the scenes from the days I wasn't in the hospital was the recognition ceremony. It wasn't the first time I'd seen Ethan Carter on the podium. His demeanor was outstanding. His candor was calm. His look was clear. He spoke of life and respect. He talked about the long road of healthcare and the starry night of healthcare professionals. I watched in a daze. And to this day I can't tell what I feel for him. Putting aside his finished mouth. I like his name. Ethan Carter. Respect and simplicity in order to be present to his people. I ran into Felix Lin this afternoon to talk about collaboration. After a short chat, Ethan Carter called. I looked at it for a few seconds and picked it up. What's up? The other end of the line was quiet. So I guess he wasn't busy. What are you doing? He asked. The topic of conversation between us seemed suddenly awkward. I was just talking to Felix Lin. What did you talk about? About your blind date last week. And then. He's your dad's friend's daughter. She's very nice. And? I thought for a moment. Oh. Felix Lin is meeting me for a drink tonight. There was a sudden silence on the receiver. Ethan Carter didn't seem to want to hear that. Nothing else? Huh? I blinked slowly. So did the blind date work out? Ethan Carter finally answers back. I didn't go. I got a headache. Can't you finish your sentence once and for all? Do you like to tease me that much? I hate it. Ethan Carter didn't deny it. Yeah. Like that. The words I was about to scold him instantly caught in my throat. Emma Quinn. He called my name. Why? Do I really annoy you? It's quiet between us again. I look back and mumble. Not annoying. Ethan Carter smiles. I'll pick you up later. It was to pick me up to go to the game Felix Lin was organizing. I didn't ask or think much about it. The estate. Far from the city. Evening rush hour. We arrived late. Halfway through the night. The light flickered and the banter continued. I don't know many people. And my eyes just fall on the man not far away. Ethan Carter doesn't smoke and doesn't talk much. Black shirt. Cool white complexion. Hand falling casually on the wall of his glass. Long. Clean. Some people are urging him to fall in love. Someone else says there's a single female teacher in the system who wants to be introduced to him. Ethan Carter never reacted. Just tugged on his lips and smiled. And then his eyes strayed over to meet mine. I didn't duck. I suddenly had a bold idea. Within seconds, the drink in front of me was replaced with a drink. Ethan Carter sat over. How much did you drink? His open leg seemed to touch my knee. Tickling it. I asked back. Are you free next weekend? Can I do an interview with you? The team leader mentioned it in today's meeting. And the hospital didn't agree or refuse. Saying it was up to the doctor. Ethan Carter wasn't in a hurry to say anything. And was being deliberately obtuse. I ran out of patience and blurted out. Ethan Carter. Who's your best friend? And who waited so long for you in front of the hospital? The interview is only half an hour. Is that okay? Ethan Carter let me shake his arm and laughed. Yes. I tilted my head. Why are you being so nice today? Ethan Carter leans back against the couch with a sideways glance. What haven't I promised you? His eyes are soft. The place is silent when there is so much activity around us. The air became sticky and chaotic. Four eyes met. A beam of light shone through. Whose gazes dipped slightly and landed on each other's lips. Suddenly there was nowhere to hide. I averted my eyes numbly. There is. What? He was still staring at me. I blush at his look and whisper again. Nothing. Ethan Carter finally retracts his eyes. Not able to win his drink? He raises his hand and presses his brow. The next second. Emma Quinn. Ethan Carter. The voices spoke at the same time. Ethan Carter smiled for an instant and looked over again. Meaning for me to speak first. I was a little nervous. Are you drunk? A little. Are you drunk? Me too. I pursed my lips. Or. I'll help you rest? In those few seconds. The music blasted your ears. Ethan Carter looked at me. His dark eyes sunk in and out. The slightest twist of emotion hiding them. Half the time. He whispers. Okay. The upstairs room is for people who have had too much to drink today. In the booth. I drink several glasses of water in a row to brace myself. Wait for me. Ethan Carter nods. a smile in his eyes. No rush. I glare at him and take another sip of water before I leave. I did hold his up. Just as I reached the door, I was tossed and subconsciously fell forward. Good thing Ethan Carter lifted me up. He palmed the back of my head to protect it from hitting the door panel. Unfortunately, because of inertia, I tugged at his shirt, deliberately pulling it closer. The tips of my noses seemed to touch, and my breath intertwined for a split second. Men are always sharp in this area. Or have been from the moment he agreed to see what I was thinking. Ethan Carter, hands still braced against the side of my ear, mumbles, "What do you want?" His chest rises and falls, and between his nostrils is the scent of hormones that belong to a man's maturity. I didn't know where to put my eyes. "What do you want?" Ethan Carter smiled faintly. He looked at me for a long time. Suddenly, he slowly lowered his head and wrapped his arms around me. His lips pressed against the soft flesh of my nape. Tingling. His voice was muffled. Sleeping through is responsible for it. At that moment, my heart was beating wildly. My head was dizzy, and I nodded vaguely. And then, only feel the neck nest that smear of warmth moved up. The tip of the tongue swept gently. Kisses all the way up from the neckline. Wine lingering. Breathing so clearly. He held my lips. His palm pressed against the back of my neck. His thumb gently rubbing my cheek. My ear. I'm forced to tilt my head back. A flurry of breath intertwining. My body dips to the bed. I'm choking on the kiss. Trembling uncontrollably. When Ethan Carter finally releases my lips. The surgeon's hand is steady, even through my trembling, and still finds the exact key point. Noses pressed together. The beads of his lips pressed against mine. His voice dull. Too much water makes a difference. The tips of my ears turned even redder. And I pushed his shoulder in exasperation. Asshole. In the next second, those wet hands interlocked with my fingers and pressed into the pillow surface. I wanted to struggle, but I did nothing. I'm going crazy from the grind and can't help but call his name. Ethan Carter always answers low. The pair of black silks had seen. Finally he was ripped apart by his own hands. I guessed wrong too. He wasn't exactly gentle. Dominant and stabbing straight into my heart. Until my eyes were lax and the person trembled. Only then did he ask in a muffled voice. "Are we there yet?" The night sky is dark. The wind and rain are coming. There was a knock on the door with a gasp. It's Felix Lynn. And he asks Ethan Carter if he's drunk. I cover the mouth of the man above me in fear to keep him from speaking. Ethan Carter takes my wrist and kisses his lips on the palm of my hand. Looks me in the eyes and says, "Not drunk." The sound of footsteps outside the door finally faded away. I haven't reacted enough to say anything. Being kissed by him anew. Senses taken over once more. The night has just begun. I woke up. My back was about to break. All I could think about was the image of Ethan Carter's lips on my neck. Kissing me delicately. Causing me to turn red as I dressed and washed. Ethan Carter was still awake. I gave him a look and ran straight away. That is, an hour later, I was in a cab. Ethan Carter sent a message. "Where?" I swallowed my throat and replied. "On my way to the office." 10 minutes later, Ethan Carter's message popped up. "Emergency. I'll see you when I'm done." I do not know what to reply. In the evening, my best friend came to my place for dinner. And brought her brother who is going to be a male escort. I'm not sure what to say. But my family doesn't agree at all. The boy leaned into my arms with a pout. "Emma Quinn's sister. You help me persuade." I picked up on the joke. "Don't let them find out. You'll be the male escort." My best friend rolled her eyes and told me to ignore him. We chatted about work. And how she's been working on a romance variety show. I asked how it was progressing. "I'm still working on the copywriting. So help me think about what it's like to feel a man's heart fluttering for a woman." I was in the middle of my sentence. My cell phone rang. I tapped the screen and realized I had 2 missed calls ahead of me. Ethan Carter. There's a murmur on the other end. And after a few seconds it finally goes silent. "Busy day." And in such a hurry to leave this morning. I nodded sheepishly as I wrapped my arms around male escort. Swamped. Ethan Carter got quiet. Probably because he was laughing at me. What do you mean? Nothing. Where are you? Home. I'm coming to get you. What for? He said. Let's talk. There's an old movie on the TV. And the English accent is sludgy. My mind went back to the images from last night. I realized that it had already happened. So if I couldn't be his wife, I'd be his wife. I said calmly. What's the deal? Where were you? Love? Downstairs. At that moment, the movie lines in my ears suddenly became clear. It said, a man is like a rainbow. You don't know it until you meet him. The late summer evening breeze was cool. I went downstairs and saw Ethan Carter with my face covered. He was leaning against the car. And when he saw me, the corners of his lips tugged up. He was so handsome. It's been half an hour since he messaged me. I approached him and explained. The power went out at home for some reason. And I just got it fixed. Ethan Carter frowned. Why didn't you tell me? I laughed. I'll fix it. Ethan Carter still wasn't relieved. Are you okay? They're fine. I mean you. The familiar thumping was back. I raised a stiff eyebrow. Yeah. I'm fine. I'm not fine with the new age of all-around women. Ethan Carter looked at me and smiled for a split second. His eyes clear and gentle. So, new age woman. You know I like you. I was so surprised that I stood still and forgot to speak. My body was hugged again. I couldn't get over how close I'd been. He said. Emma Quinn. I haven't been in a relationship in years. So if you say you're just trying to sleep with me, I'll accept that it's just for fun. It's pure love now. Who said I just wanted to sleep with him? I blushed and whispered. I thought you said you were going downstairs to fall in love. The hand on my waist tightened for a moment. Ethan Carter looked relieved. Cupped my face. Kissed me and hugged me again. Ever the open book. He repeated. Emma Quinn. I like you. The evening breeze was soft. I couldn't help but smile. After a long time, I thought of something. Ethan Carter. No backsies. There we go. The fierce Dr. Chow was suddenly adorable. I asked. What would you say a heartbeat feels like? 2 seconds of silence. He whispered. Like an earthquake.